Let's call this meeting to order. This is a joint protection of persons and property subcommittee / town council meeting. It's Tuesday, April 29th, 2025, 7 p.m. in the Veterans Meeting Room. Agenda item number 2, roll call. Councilor Dow, excused. Councilor Ortiz, present. Councilor Rivas.
Present.
Citizen member David Adams.
Present.
Citizen member Roland Larishell, excused. We have a quorum. Item number 3, review, discuss the FY 2026 inspection services building budget 1240 in the amount of $260,474. Entertain a motion to submit to town council as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Town Manager?
Thank you. All right, so I'll just on the highlight on the salaries and wage performance. Yes, you do see an 82.3% increase. The reason for that is last year the town council requested that we hire the director of inspections. So that was a new position last year, so that shows Ted's salary at the step increase of 107,524. So that is a position within the budget funded from last year, okay? Then you have Mike as the assistant building commissioner, and then Kayla as the admin assistant. If you move down, in the CDBG, we fund approximately 60% of that through CDBG. So the offset goes to Mike Julian's salary of $88,000. So for his position, we're only paying $38,000. The rest is being paid through the grant. The reason we set it up this way is technically we used to have it just as the code enforcement, but both Teddy and Mike do code enforcement, and it's allowable by the grant, so we're able to offset the salaries for that inspections department for code enforcement because they both do the inspections that are required for the CDBG grant. In fact, because we were able to, this year, we're able to go back and take the grant funds that we have in this fiscal year and apply it going back to July 1st. So for the Teddy's new position and all that. So we'd already made the adjustment to go back and recoup money for this year's budget. Any questions on the salaries for that? That's pretty much no new positions there.
No, you answered that.
Anyone on the table?
No.
Crowd?
Now, go ahead.
I apologize. Town manager, real quick, the $50,000, I annotated down, right? I saw that.
Yeah.
Does it change how you make up the formula? I understand you put it up there. Is the formula kind of still the same as it used to be?
So that is what the CDBG budgeted for because it's a continuing 2-year period. So they budgeted per year $50,000. So that was the approximate that they gave.
Okay.
So throughout the grant, that's what they budgeted in the grant. So that's what we're using for the number that we confirmed with that.
Very well, thank you.
Okay. So I might say 60%, so it's a print, but that's what they put in the grant documents, 50,000.
But it's still the same amount of percentage coming
Yeah.
up here to the,
Yeah.
okay.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Now,
Are you still on?
I'm just gonna go down real quick.
Okay.
Couple other things
Yep.
that we have here. In the salary appointed, we have the wire inspector, gas inspector, assistant gas, assistant wire, and the sailor weights and measures. So Teddy had come to us, and unfortunately Teddy can't be here. He's had a little bit of health issues over the last couple of days, and of course Michelle too. So that's why I'm here solo. I will do my best to answer your questions. We had talked about doing a percentage basis for the wiring and gas inspector, as other towns do this. Sometimes they do it to fund their salaries. They'll say, okay, 70% of the inspection permits are go to for the salaries. Because of the way things were going this year, we're going to continue to review that, but that would entail setting up a revolving fund. It was just too much to do this year. The one area that we looked at, and we have put aside approximately $10,000 in our salary reserve, and when we present this, and I wanted to get the feedback from the committee, is in our wire inspector. our wire inspector traditionally has been pretty much underpaid if you look at what the formula is. So we would propose increasing that $10,000, and that's in our salary adjustment account. But I bring that as a question to the subcommittee. If you look at percentages, that would still be less than a 70%, but it would move us in an incremental basis to take care of that because of the number of inspections that they do. You know, we have a lot of big developments coming forward, and a lot of time is spent on that. If you looked at the formula for the gas inspector, however, if you looked at the number, because we did somewhat of a study on taking what the revenue was for all the permits and then applying the 70%, definitely the wire inspector was way out of calibration, but the gas inspector with the salary that we pay is pretty consistent if you did it either way. So we do look at that wire inspector, and that's an issue that we do have to address incrementally, and that's why we put that aside. So that's what we have there. The car allowances down below is simply just per salary and wage schedule. We pay $125 per month for their use of their cars when they do inspections. Do you have any other questions on any other items throughout?
No, go ahead.
So we're talking about the whole budget itself. Mine are really small,
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, real quick. Real small. So I look at ARM, the maintenance on the vehicles.
Yeah.
You guys went from 15 to 25. You increased that, right? So, but if I look at the back history, it's stayed under or at 1,500 the entire time. Is there a reason why there was an increase for that? I mean, these are small numbers compared to the overall budget, but
Right. So the reason for that, once you have to look at, and unfortunately because health is in EHS and building is in PPP, the total amount of the vehicles came out of the health department last year. We transitioned to new vehicles, so you'll see in the health inspector's budget, the RMV for vehicles went down. And we just moved the money over to this because this department only had one vehicle, it now has two assigned to it. So we had to do a reshuffle of all vehicles, right? We had to take a couple of vehicles to the curbside, that, you know, the pickup truck that they had, that was to the health. So there was a reshuffle of vehicles. So the amount that we're spending it all year is consistent, it's just where it's allocated within each individual budget.
And the other question I had, actually, the other question, holy cow, where's it at? Furniture, again, it's a very tiny item.
Yeah.
They haven't spent that at all. They haven't spent any as of today either, unless it's different. But even if I'm not expecting it to be coming off, but if they're not going to spend it, I mean, when you get a budget and you get a pocket full of money, you go out there at the end of the year, you make sure it's spent.
So what they're doing is there's a room downstairs that they have the file room. So Teddy has given us a plan drawing, and they will be purchasing the equipment for that.
Okay.
New rollers and all that for the plan.
And then one other question, I apologize if I missed this whole thing.
Yeah.
Town hall staff and those individuals that are not in the union, what's the cost of living?
We
increase?
budgeted in 2%.
So if you may,
Go ahead.
I don't mean to be on a soapbox,
Continue.
but I work for a couple towns. Right now, they're doing overrides like crazy. Their school budgets are out of control. Everything's happening. Even the police department's doing an override as well in one of the towns. They're struggling for the cash, and the fact is, and they used free cash last year at an annual meeting. That put them in the hole right at the beginning. It's $550,000. And so when I hear that, you know, there's more to cut, I have a hard time believing that we have all this money that we can cut at 2.5% or 2% across the board. So thanks, town manager. Appreciate it.
Thank you, if I may.
Go ahead.
Thank you for that, Ms. Abbott. I'm very happy with the fact that we were able to bring in a budget, a balanced budget, right, with no layoffs, maintain services, and not seek an override.
You took $1 million hit on the
And
insurance.
took $1 million hit on the
They took
insurance.
it because then, not to keep going, you got other towns that are paying 30% in the insurance this
So,
year.
And
Crazy.
And to the point of free cash, that's a dangerous slippery slope when you start using free cash, because that's a one-time fund, and you just kick the can down the road where you have to pay the piper at some point with massive layoffs. So I'm very happy with the work that we all did. Again, my department heads, our finance team, to balance this budget with no cuts and maintain the services that we have. The increased demand that they have on the services, but kept it level. So, thank you.
Councilor Rivas?
I just have a clarifying question. The
Yeah.
10,000 you spoke about earlier.
Yes.
Where is that reflected in the line?
It's
Is
in
that-
our, we have a salary adjustment account that we have, and we'll outline it in our personnel, when we
So
come to
it's
general
not-
government.
okay, so it's
So we
not-
have it outlined in certain caveats. So it's, if the sentiment is yes, move forward, we will recommend that when we go to, but it's within the balanced budget.
Great, thank you.
But that cost, it's desperately needed because of the, fortunately, we only have a part-time wire inspector and very busy.
Thank you.
Good. There are no other questions. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, well present. Item number 4, review and discuss the FY 2026 Fire Department Budget 1220 in the amount of $3,227,740. Entertain a motion to submit to Town Council as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Calvert?
Thank you. So I'm just gonna reflect on the salary and wages on the fire department, and this will also carry over to the police department. You will see that there's a negative percentage change in this. But that, we have to remember, the budget as presented with salary and wages, all the salaries for the existing staff, union staff, is level funded from this fiscal year because we're in contract negotiations. So we are not putting a percentage to that, because if we put a percentage to that, that means we have the money. We, again, as I stated in the previous meeting, we have planned for our negotiations, and until we settle, we have police officers, police, public safety dispatchers, and fire. That's all in negotiations. Those are our biggest units. So we have planned accordingly, but this budget does not reflect any increase in the union staff. So that would come forward at council once we negotiated a contract, and then we would make those adjustments once that's contracted out. If there's any questions, we went through this budget. Again, minimal increases in holiday pay. A lot of that is holiday pay. Let me go back because I want to make sure I'm clear. When it comes to the union staff, there may be increases, but the only increase would be if they went up a step right now when we did the budget, right? So that step would be already in play, but not the percentage COLAs. Okay, so holiday pay assignments, those were all reflective of existing staff, what the cost is for that, and projected out. Again, uniform allowance, we level funded it. If there's any changes in the uniform allowance due to collective bargaining, we would address it at that time. RMV on the vehicles, increased cost. We have some older equipment, so that's the repairs on that. Data processing at $30,000. That is our cyber now going into cyber. So you see that there's an increase. The police and fire departments had secured a grant to move to a .gov. That's the funding for the remainder of the year. The chiefs are working on grants to possibly offset those costs. If we do get additional cost grants for the cybersecurity, then we would reduce this to zero and move it back out of the budget. But at this time, we budgeted accordingly for that cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is a big issue. In fact, we were on a call for our bond rating. Big question was, do we have cybersecurity in place? What are we doing to improve cybersecurity? we have a cybersecurity in our policy, so because we are moving to this, we do realize some savings on that end. And specialized services, Chief, you're gonna have to remind me on specialized services. Why did we go up that high on specialized services?
5100,
Huh?
5300.
Yeah. I know there was a reason we vetted this, but
Oh, that was where we decided that the costs, everything, the cost for life pack monitors, loop support, all those different things that we use on the ambulance on an everyday basis to get maintenance packages.
yeah. Because we did do some shifting of accounts within the budget too, to kind of streamline. One of the things that you may see too is electricity. You're gonna see electricity zeroed out, right? We have moved all our electrical accounts to a central account for all our town departments. Everything's being handled now out of the town hall, out of the accountant's office that managing the electric accounts, because it's very complicated with the Schedule Z and credits and all that. So we moved those costs out of those budgets.
Any questions? Go ahead.
Just the only thing is, I did look at overtime, and I did talk to the chief about that, so I'm happy with that. The other thing is, emergency management director, that chief is, steps in the role.
Yeah,
Is there any look at a stipend for them down the road?
we certainly.
We give stipends for people sitting on a couple of these small boards.
Yeah, we'd have to look at that. The chief did propose a new position within the fire department. Obviously, that position was to fill a position for I'll let the chief explain it and what he was requesting. However, we did not, and I am not recommending funding that position at this time, but I said that I would allow him to explain it. It's something that, you know, we should be looking to move into on the work that is done by a variety of different people and the needs of the department. So I'll let him explain this one position. However, we have not put any money aside in any salary adjustment account because we simply cannot afford any new positions currently.
Chief?
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight. The sheet I gave to you is just kind of a template of what we're trying to do here. But I just want to read through this is really the scenario which has happened within the fire department, and I've altered some schedules to make this all happen. I'm here respectfully requesting to approve and fill a 24-hour floor position that was previously held by firefighter Michael Strupa. Mike has recently been reassigned to a full-time administrative day position within the department, and it's important that we backfill his floor spot to maintain our staffing levels and operational readiness at 7 per group. So right now we currently have 3 groups at 7 and 1 group at 6. This change would bring our unionized staff from 29 to 30 members. For context, our department is made up currently of 29 union firefighters plus myself and a deputy chief and 1 executive assistant full-time. Now, let me explain why Mike's reassignment was necessary and why filling this floor position is so critical. Mike now serves to me in many roles in the EMS division. While this position isn't formally outlined in the union contract, it was originally intended to be voluntary, stipend-based role. Over the past years, we've posted this position multiple times internally, but no union members have stepped up forward to take it. Previously, we had a firefighter who managed all of the EMS billing and patient care report submissions to our billing agency. That was also a stipend position, as I just stated. That was handling, they were handling that position every couple of shifts. Whenever they worked a 24-hour shift, that's when they would get all this ambulance billing in. What that firefighter left for another department, I reposted that position again and no one took it. To keep the ambulance revenue, and this is the reason why this is important, to keep our ambulance revenue coming in, I took that task on myself. It is very time consuming, anywhere from 30 to 3 hours a day, and that was the top of the normal duties. There was requests for lawyers, EMS run charts, and things like that. When Mike stepped in and agreed to take over this responsibility full-time during the day, it made a huge difference. Billing was processed daily, not weekly, and we're seeing faster, more consistent revenue flows in the town government, into the town revenue. The same thing happened when another member left who was managed our EMS supply ordering and narcotic tracking, which is a very strict, high-risk process which needs to be done on a monthly basis. We posted that role again and there was no interest. Our deputy chief took it over in the time being until we could get somebody to do it. Now Mike has assumed both of those roles. He handles billing, orders, all EMS supplies, and manages our controlled substances with full compliance. On top of that, he coordinates training and continuing education for our EMTs and paramedics. He oversees our online training portal, helps ensure everyone getting their certifications in education in on time, and performs 100%, assists with performing 100% of our EMS calls, which is every single call has to be reevaluated. Frankly, our system currently is archaic at best. Many of these roles and responsibilities we're relying on, like the EMS billing and the training oversight, it was all on a stipend position through the union contract. These responsibilities can no longer be done just once or twice a week. They require daily attention, accountability, and follow-through. Our EMS program is large, very complex, and too critical to be running on outdated systems and sporadic oversight. Things have to change because right now it's not working. We've had increased turnover, increased call volume, tighter compliance standards from the state, and trying to patch these holes by stretching already overloaded staff isn't sustainable. By transitioning these duties to a dedicated person, where Michael has been working day shift, Tuesday through Friday, 10-hour days, it makes the flow of information and the flow of revenue to come back in, which I've already said. The cost of this floor position is approximately $61,500 in base salary, not including benefits, but in return, we're ensuring critical revenue streams are protected, training is up to date, the EMS supplies are properly maintained, and our quality assurance and compliance remains intact. So again, I respectfully ask that you support this endeavor that we're trying to do. I've talked to the town manager about this a couple of times over the last 6 months when Mike came in. Back from his leave, he was on FMLA for almost all of last year. It was a perfect role for him to fall right into because we were having the problems with billing and supply ordering and all that stuff. So obviously, the deputy and I, well, more so the deputy, will be really hands-on with this new fire station project. So we need to do something, and we just need to try to make this work right now. So that's my request for a full-time position.
Any questions? Dave?
Just a real quick question. Obviously, it's something that you're just bringing forward. And appreciate it, Chief. So, who was doing the billing before?
Previous employee that was here.
Okay.
They left to go to another community.
And what about the executive? Is she spun up on that, or is she capable of doing that?
No,
or that
that was-
position, I should say.
The billing, that is, she does not have medical background. During that process of collating all the medical billing information, it's reviewed for correct wording, medical procedures. all
Right. There's
those
certain
things.
codes. I got it. Yep. Understood. All right. Thank you.
Councilor Rivas?
So currently, the 24-hour floor position, is that sort of being divided up with other people? Like, what is happening right now?
Great question through the chair. So basically right now, like I said, there's 3 groups at 7. We still, don't forget, we still have sick time, vacation time, personal time. We have one guy out IOD, but to answer that particular question, right now, there's not a backfill process for his position. So right now, that group is operating at 6, and 6 only. If that number goes below 5, say there's 2 guys take a vacation or in a sick or a personal day, then it requires backfill of overtime to fill the shift. I'm going to use the word, the magic number is 5. If we don't go below 5 at the fire station. So it's not automatically backfilled because he's working days. And I forgot to tell you, I think I missed the paragraph. We had a fire today. He's been on the fire truck, so he's still ancillary staff when we need him for paramedic calls, ambulance calls, and fire calls. So, he's not just gonna be pushed to the side and work upstairs in the administrative office.
Go ahead.
one more question through you. So it hasn't had to be backfilled with overtime during this, like, time period?
So, through the chair, over the last several months, a lot of our shifts have been backfilled because we've been below 5, because of those things that I've already said. So I can't say particularly because of Mike's position caused this, it is a contributing factor of it. I'm hoping by the beginning of September, we're not doing as much backfill anyways, because we will be fully staffed and all 29 members on the fire department will be able to be counted as a number because they're fully trained and fully educated.
One more. I'd be
Go ahead.
curious to just see sort of the comparison of what the overtime has cost in relation to this function and how that relates to the 61,509. I'd just like to see a comparison of that.
I do. I'll get back to you on that. I
Okay.
do have a figure, but it doesn't dive that deep into what you're asking.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Lazo?
Chief, just a quick question. You've been looking at the overtime keeps getting, more and more, and transfers and ambulance calls are increased. As a counselor, I'm thinking there are plenty of ambulance services in the area to do transfers. What would happen if we, as a town, said, we're not doing any transfers, we're going back to being an emergency service on call? We could peel back a tremendous amount of money. After all, we don't get paid in full for those transfers. We get the percentage. And when you look at the percentage, I'm saying, is that really worth it? When you look at what the output is. So food for thought going forward. I don't want to do anything in this budget. I want a level service budget, and I think Jack's explained that. Whereas we negotiate the contracts and stuff, we look at, we operate conservatively on a daily basis. I said it earlier. Just food for thought. I mean, we're going into a brand new station. We got a lot of moving parts, and one of the things I keep looking at is what the Medicare pays and all this here. I'm saying somehow I don't feel that adds up in our favor as much as if we went to a emergency service, and then our calls would be car accidents, overdose, heart attacks, medical issues, where if somebody's gonna call Harrington and say, I wanna transfer you to UMass, you could call any ambulance service and let them handle it. So what we can do is try and take the load off our guys so they can take the priority of the Southbridge emergency calls. And you wouldn't have to lean into mutual aid and all that other stuff. We'd be hands-on in Southbridge. Food for thought, just wanna put it out there tonight. Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, back to the budget. Thank you, Chief.
Yep.
All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, all present.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you. Item number 5, review and discuss the FY 2026 Police Department budget 1210 in the amount of $5,280,271. Entertain a motion to submit to Town Council as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Thank
Town
you.
Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Or acting chair. Again, we'll look at the salary and wages, again, a 0.3% increase. That's reflective of not any increases in non-union staff, any step increases, and again, this salary wage includes dispatches. So this is not just police officers, it is total dispatches. So it's a total department, all salary and wages. Again, we have considered any collective bargaining agreements, and that will be put in place. The chief has always worked very hard to come in as conservatively as he has always done a great job in any budget items. The biggest increase is, again, longevity. That's number of officers, how many years they are. It's a standard number, it's collectively bargained, so that's just people move up, longevity. Holiday pay increase. It's all based on number of holidays. The chief does a great job about trying to budget that. Biggest increase, again, is in data processing. Again, that's reflective, I believe, chief, of the cybersecurity grant in data processing. So that's why we have that huge increase. Move to .gov. Let's see. Yes, big increase in janitorial supplies, but chief has a big building to keep clean, and increased cost, and that's what his request is on that. And then conference and meetings, well, that's a big increase, and I know if Councilor Marquetti was here, he'd be asking why are we having such an increase in conference and meetings. But we do have administrative staff. We are now an accredited police department. The chief is developing his staff the chief has a bench, so as people move and develop his admin staff plus the collective bargaining. And I'll let the chief highlight any other questions that you might have.
Any questions? Dave?
Thank you. I talked to the chief yesterday about the janitorial services and stuff like that, where he was explaining with the increase on certain things that they plan on doing this year. One thing that I did talk to him about yesterday was the maintenance again. Every year, it seems, and I may be wrong on this one, but I swear he comes up there every year for a transfer to cover possibly the cost of this.
Of what?
I think it's the maintenance for the motor vehicles.
Yes.
Keeping it at 10,000. I think it's been a trend that he's come up and asked for a transfer. Yeah, yet again, maybe it's a few $100, maybe it's $3, maybe it's $4,000, but there's been an increase, and we're spending time. That's another thing, but we're spending time having department heads come in here for very tiny transfers, and to be honest with you, wasting everybody's time. Should be a policy in place to take care of those small transfers. Anyways, that's all I've got.
Thank you. Again, it's also reflective on the electricity, $36,000. Well, that's zeroed out. You'll see the actual and the revised budget, $53,000 actual for electricity. And the reason why we have an increase in that electricity is because we get applied credits for electricity. However, there was a certain site that was offline, and that's why we have to redo the Z schedule. So we have, believe it or not, we have some accounts that may have a $10,000 credit balance where we only use $100 worth of electricity. So we're working on the whole schedule to balance that out. That's all I think we have.
Councilor Rivas?
Just a quick question on the janitorial services that you went over. Maybe if you could go over that,
Sure.
just for the public.
So what happened is we haven't moved this account up. It's been about $1,500 for 10 years. And our custodian has to clean a 22,000 square foot building. And everything's obviously increased from the stuff we all know about, like bleach, and then not special, but chemicals we use to clean cell blocks, biohazard stuff, decontamination. It's all gone up a lot. And last year, and even the year before, I had to do transfers to cover the cost for that. So that's why it looks like it's a huge number when you look at the percentage change, because it is. But it went from 1,500 to 3,000. But again, it's been about 10 years that's been locked in at that 1,500. So talking with the manager and with Mr. Akabuchi, we decided to march forward with the doubling of the amount.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll just echo off something too. We have a vacancy right now, I think, as a janitor.
I'm sorry. For the custodian, no.
You
We
did
don't.
have
It's
it
all
filled.
set, yes. And that, just so you know, a point of clarification, it's a part-time position. It's an elderly woman that we have that does an unbelievable job. I really hope she never leaves. She took a little bit of time because her mom was sick, so she left for about 8 weeks, and we're happy she's back. And she does a lot, and she cooks for us too, just so you know. Old school Spanish.
Are you good?
Yes, thank you.
Councilor Kelly?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for you. Chief,
Hi.
just a quick question. I'm just wondering why there's such a big difference in the salaries and wages between the budget and the actual 2025.
Our payroll, if I could through you, Mr. Chair, Councilor Kelly, our payroll is about give or take 75% done right now, and it's salary alone, it's about $300,000 a week, $280,000, a pay period, I should say, so every 2 weeks. So by the end of the fiscal year, June 30th, it'll be down to zero. But you're looking at the big number with a lot left as far as actual, because we still have probably, I'm guessing, probably 6 payrolls left, or 4 to 6. So that's gonna be another $1 million or so and coming out of that, or whatever that number
It
is.
seemed a little larger than I would expect at this point in time.
Yeah, and also we're short 2 right now, so we're not paying 2 people that I budgeted for last year. We're in the process of hiring them, and they'll be coming forward to another PPP in the near future. So we're down 2, and we have several payrolls left. That's why the number seems so off.
All right, thank you.
One last thing.
Go ahead, Dave.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to the town manager, this is nothing, you know what, you were a counselor and all the counselors are out here. With all the housing that we got coming in, I know this is kind of off the budget, but it's about the budget. Increasing the numbers. I mean, when we first, in 2018, I think the police had 34, they're up to 40 now. Fire department went from, you're like 20 to 27, yeah. So it went, you know, is there any thought process down the road of how do we pay for this? How do we look at it? You could do the grants all you want, but sooner or later you're gonna pay for it.
Wow.
Especially with all the services needed now.
So
Or push
I know
to the state.
I know I've had a conversation with the fire union about doing like a study of the fire department staffing needs. Police department already has their staff. There's no doubt we need additional staff. It's how do we start planning for that? We really have to develop a strategic plan, because you look at, and I'll agree, we passed the housing on Marcy Street, we passed the housing on K Street, right? The number of calls that those facilities have generated puts a pressure on the town. Now we have to start planning for additional housing on,
Yeah.
K Street, right? One phase, the next phase, which is probably closer, who knows the other phase, but that's still, if it happens. Next door over here, they're talking 40 units. You're talking half a dozen down there on Central Street area with the old water company, right? So you're having a lot of housing development, right? So that's put an impact on our services.
Yeah.
So we definitely have to start thinking about, but the question is, how do we get there, right? $1 million, again, I keep going back, $1 million increase in health insurance this year does not do a lot for us to give us any flexibility,
No.
right? So what do you do? So that's something that we have to work collectively, council, department heads, to plan on how do we get there.
But the discussion has started.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that top of mind of how do we get to provide those services. There's no doubt, right? You listen to the services, the police, the amount of firearms that are out in the street right now. No fault to the police department, they're out there hammering it, but that's a big societal issue, I think, because we're not the only community that has it, right? I think this is a time right now that we really have to work for solutions.
Thank you, that's all I was asking.
Yeah, no,
I'm glad the
I'm sorry I was
conversation's
long-winded
out.
on that, but yes, it is a complicated question, and it's something that we really have to work on.
Chief?
Just to kind of shift back a little bit to Councilor Kelly, that was a very good question. So just so the math, we have 6 payrolls left, I confirmed it through the dates.
Okay.
So at about 300, it's about 375,000 payroll. So that comes out to about 2.15 million, something like that. And we have the 2.3 that you're looking at now as an actual, but that doesn't include today's payroll, or the payroll that was done yesterday, sorry, to be paid on Thursday. And then there'll be some money left over, probably 150, 160,000 at the end of the year, but we're doing a bunch of transfers tonight, and I have more coming, and that's gonna wash that out. So the salary will be almost zero by the end of the fiscal year. Is that a little bit better clarification?
Yes, yes,
It
thank
was a good question, I just wanted to elaborate on it a little bit.
Quick math.
Yes, I did it on my calculator, that's accurate now.
Councilor Lazo.
Again, housing, industry, commercial, we sit on a council that comes down and makes decisions on housing. We're building apartments in the American Optical Company plant to basically house Worcester. or people from the eastern part of the state, because there's a shortage. I sat down and talked with Chip Norton and Johnny Daniels, and I'm of the thought, as a counselor, that they're not making any more land in Southbridge. And they're definitely not making any more commercial or heavy industrial or manufacturing land in Southbridge. So when a discussion comes up in front of the council, do we do this or don't we do this? These are the questions that need to be pushed into those projects like fire, police, DPW, schools, depending on what the housing is for. I mean, as we've talked with council, we say if they ever brought in elderly housing, we'd raise the flag and make it elderly housing because we need it. When I discuss the use of water and sewer, okay, housing takes more water and sewer. Then I have a debate that, well, some manufacturing, yeah, if you're doing a grinding or something like that, use water. But for the most part, housing uses more water and sewer than a factory. Then they say, well, there's no workforce in this area for industry. And that's when I look the man in the face, and he's talking to the wrong guy. We had 8,000 jobs in the American Optical Company, and they had no problem getting workers for it. They didn't come from Southbridge, Woodstock, Dudley, Webster, Oxford, Sturbridge, Brimfield. I mean, we need to either get our economic development head of the game or just become an apartment, low-income community. We have people coming into this town right now that are buying up blight buildings and they want to bring them up to code. And if we work towards revitalizing our older buildings, we'll be better off. There's no increase in the sewer and water because they're already online. So when I look at the big picture, I say, what are we thinking about, guys? Once the industrial investors fill up with apartments and they sell it and they go off in the sunset, the Southbridge residents are going to be holding the bag on police, fire. I mean, remember, we're talking just men. You're going to need more equipment. So going forward, keep that in the back of your mind when people come up and do a presentation. Thank you, bro.
Thank you. Any more questions on the budget? Not? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, all present. Item number 6. Review and discuss the town manager's reappointment of Caitlin Jewell as Inspector of Animals as recommended by the police chief in accordance with the provisions of Section 5, Chapter 129, General Laws, as amended, effective May 1st, 2025 through April 30th, 2026. Entertain a motion to recommend to the town council for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Town Manager?
Caitlin has been serving in this position for a number of years. We have to have the appointment in by May 1st. Form has been filled out and nomination, and we just need to have her appointed.
Any questions? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, all present. Item number 7, review and discuss the appointment of Albert Salonis of Dudley, Mass. As a special traffic constable based on the police chief's recommendation for a 3-year term effective immediately through June 30th, 2028. State ethics in good standing. Entertain a motion to submit to town council for confirmation.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Town Manager?
I'll defer to the chief.
And if I could through you, Mr. Chair, quickly, Mr. Salonis, he's a full-time firefighter, career firefighter right now. He's a call firefighter in 2 neighboring communities. He's part of the Coast Guard Reserve, still serving right now. Worked as a public safety officer at our local hospital. He knows the area. He was a public safety dispatcher at a college in a neighboring community. He's going to be graduating from that college in the spring. I would highly recommend him to be a constable.
Any questions? No? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, all present. Item number 8, review and discuss acceptance of the 2025 Student Awareness of Fire Education Grant, SAFE, grant in the amount of $5,697.75. Allow the town manager to sign all related paperwork. Entertain a motion to recommend to town council.
So moved.
Second.
Town
Please,
Manager?
I'll defer to the chief. These are two grants that normally firefighter Norman down over there administers the SAFE program, but I'll defer to the chief.
So items 8 and 9 are the same grant process, but for two separate programs through the Massachusetts Fire Academy. The first one is the student awareness. This is the education that firefighter Normandin is the SAFE coordinator for the department. He has a couple of other people from within the department that goes out and goes to all the local schools during most of the time during October and November during fire prevention, fire safety months. So that's the first one, and the second one is to the seniors. So if you need more of a description, I'll go into that when you get to that point.
Any questions? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, all present. Agenda item number 9, review and discuss the acceptance of the 2025 Senior Safe Grant in the amount of $2,400 and allow the town manager to sign all related paperwork. Entertain a motion to recommend to town council.
Same grant.
Same grant, just
motion.
different, this is for the elders. Seniors, we do a lot at the senior center, 150 Main Street. And obviously Patrick does the majority of the training and education to these people. So great program, and it is an annual, both of them are an annual grant.
Just a quick question, Mr. Chair, to Pat. Do you guys do it over at the senior center?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, as Katie needs it over there, she reaches out to us.
Thank you.
Councilor Rivas?
Is it provided to, like, all in one day, or do you go to both, like the?
So generally, just like for Councilor Adams, it's pretty kind of an ad hoc program. When she reaches out, we don't visit regularly, but we do have other spin-off programs with the seniors, with different civic groups in the community, UINC, it's YMCA. So these grants kind of cover a myriad of different things with SAFE, with the kids and the seniors.
Yeah, just making sure that, there is translation for.
So it's funny, neither Pat or I speak Spanish, and actually we do have a great translator at the senior center that does. It's actually quite fun to interact with them, and we'll say a few words. And so yes, we do have that ability.
And then in fact, we went out with the Red Cross yesterday to put in some smoke alarms in some residences in town, and our rep through the Red Cross is actually fluent in multiple languages, including
Awesome.
Spanish.
Awesome, thank you.
Cool.
Any other questions? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, all present. Item number 10, review and discuss accepting a community impact grant from Spectrum Health Systems in the amount of $15,000 to the Southbridge Fire Department for the purchase of medical equipment and allow the town manager to sign all related documents. Entertain a motion to town council for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Town manager?
Thank you. I'll defer to Deputy Chief Hewlett. He had sent this over to us regarding a opportunity for some funds to go towards the purchase of Lucas equipment. I'll defer to the deputy.
All right, so back on April 18th, we were notified by Spectrum Health that they have a community impact committee that they've recently put in play, and we were nominated by 2 of their employees for a $15,000 grant for medical equipment. I did reach out to them and discuss some options with them, and the chief and I looked at our capital items for the upcoming year and our Lucas chest compression systems. The current units that we have are 10 years old, and they are no longer going to be supported by the company that produces them, and we had this in capital. So the $15,000 will pay for one in full. The document that I just gave you was the updated quote for 1 unit with some batteries and ancillary equipment, so it came out to just under $14,000.
Any questions? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, all present.
Thank you.
Item number 11, review and discuss a fire department transfer request of $8,300 from account number 001-220-585-600 safety equipment to account number 001-220-524-100 repair and maintenance vehicles. Entertain a motion to recommend approval to town council.
So moved.
Second.
Town manager?
The tower truck experienced some mechanical issues and keep it in service. We had to have it repaired. I'll let the chief go through what those repairs were, but they were quite extensive, and this is just partial payment, I believe? No?
This is all
No.
of it. This is all of it. Through the chair, thank you again. The tower truck is a 2003 unit, and at this point, when you have one little hydraulic leak, you got to chase them all down. We sent it over to a qualified emergency repair shop. When they ripped down the boom piece of it to find more hydraulic leaks, they actually found even another batch of hydraulic leaks that were actually original to the truck. So in the time of replacing hydraulic lines, we actually had to have work done on the intercom system from the platform where it connects to the truck to where the bucket is, so there has to be an intercom between the two. And then we had a door replaced on the side of the vehicle due to some damage. I really kind of beat the guy up on labor and stuff like that. This bill is actually probably, he quoted me like $28,000 for the total repair, but I was on him and pretty much got him down to his labor costs, lowered his labor costs at $23,614.
Any questions? Not, all those in favor? Opposed, unanimous, all present. Item number 12, review and discuss a fire department transfer request of $500 from account number 001-220-558700, parts and accessories, non-vehicle, to account number 001-220-54800, motor vehicle parts and accessories. Entertain a motion to recommend approval to town council.
So move.
Second.
Thanks.
Town manager?
Thank you. So for the remaining items, I'll let the police chief and fire chief discuss what their transfers are.
Okay.
They've all been reviewed by finance and town manager. These transfers this week, there'll be some additional transfers probably next PPP meeting, and some other accounts through general government and accounts. We are actively taking a proactive approach to closing the end of the year as quickly as possible. So the memo went out to all department heads that said you need to review all your accounts, check what accounts you have in your balances, anticipate any shortfalls that you may have, and plan accordingly. So these are looking forward to look at all your accounts. Where are you? What bills do you have? What do you anticipate? It's not a spending spree. It's what bills do you have? What do you have to pay? Get your transfers in, because after May 15th, pretty much there'll be no transfers unless absolutely needed. Okay, so we want to avoid the end of the year transfers that we typically have seen in the past. So this is a review by all departments to make sure. So these are what the chiefs have found for their transfers that need to make sure they have adequate funds in their accounts.
Chief? Anything?
I think.
Councilor Rivas?
And so with all the transfers, the accounts you're transferring from are still adequately budgeted for what you have left to do with those accounts?
So in my case, these transfers are needed because in some of these, the parts and motor vehicle stuff that we just did before, we have an expectation to continue repairing vehicles as we move on for the next 8 weeks or whatever. So these transfers kind of take into account of that too, what I might be thinking, what might break, or all PMs, vehicle maintenance PMs are completely done for the rest of the year, we hope. Obviously I cannot judge all that stuff, but so on the other note of that is that these transfers that you're seeing us put monies into, I myself, just in the fire department side, I don't know if the police chief has done it, addressed it in this year's budget. So we've increased them a little bit moving forward too, because things cost more and parts cost more. So does that answer your question?
Yes.
But just to follow up point, yes. So the expectation is, look at those accounts where you have money available, that we made a budget that you had a better year on not an expense, and plan accordingly.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? If not, all those in favor?
Well, I think
You did
They
12.
didn't do a motion yet. I explained what was gonna happen.
Oh, we didn't do
Oh,
it.
we need an explanation.
I give an explanation. You can approve all of them if you like, and we'll be done.
I'm fine with
Aye,
that.
aye.
I did read number 12, and they gave us a motion.
Yeah.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. So
Plus
all
the-
those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, all present.
I'm just not used to it, Council Ortiz, you know what I mean?
Not a problem.
It talks.
Item number 13, review and discuss a fire department transfer request of $200 from account number 001-220-542200 data processing supplies to account number 001-220-542100 copy machine supplies. Entertain a motion to recommend approval to town council.
So moved.
Second.
Chief?
I'm gonna blame this one on Deputy Hewlick, because he's building a fire station. I think you heard that. Our copy machine obviously is usually flying, but this is to get us to the end of the year, and also pay for what expected bills we're gonna be receiving.
Any other questions? No? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, all present. Item number 14, review and discuss a fire department transfer request of $730 from account number 001-220-542000 office supplies to account number 001-220-585100 furniture and finishing. Entertain a motion to recommend approval to town council. Chief?
So moved.
Second.
So several chairs at the fire station, which are down in the kitchen in the dispatch area, they've deteriorated beyond safe, and some of them are very uncomfortable. Every year we only have, over the last 7 years that I've been doing the budget, we only had $500 in there. And I try to do the best with that $500 to replace chairs, but it just seems to take in a world of its own. So this will get us at least six or seven chairs. They're not dispatch chairs at $2,000 each. So.
A few salads.
I take my comment back. I'm good. You can keep it.
So yeah, obviously that will help. And I did increase the line budget for next year moving forward to accomplish more.
And keep some of the counselors out of there. They're hurting.
Any questions? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, all present. Item 15, review and discuss a fire department transfer request of $700 from account number 001-220-519300 tuition to account number 001-220-571100 conference and meetings. Entertain a motion to recommend approval to town council.
So moved.
Second.
Chief?
So professional development, my line item this year was to account for the Fire Chiefs Association, where the deputy, myself, and a few other members go every year. This year, I've actually had some really active members that want to get involved with fire prevention. So there's a fire prevention conference here in Southbridge in 2 weeks. You'll see a bunch of fire guys over there at the hotel and conference center, the Wellsworth. This will pay for their admittance fee for that, and that will get them into the professional development conference.
Any questions? No? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, all present. Item 16, review and discuss a fire department transfer request of $1,000 from account number 001-220-585-600 safety equipment to account number 001-220-550000 health supplies. Entertain a motion to recommend approval to town council.
So moved.
Second.
Chief?
So this is to, obviously, supplies are needed in the ambulance, and actually the entire department, because the fire trucks carry medical supplies also. But this is to get us to the end of the fiscal year. Our costs have increased, and we need to make sure we have enough money to get through the rest of the season.
Go ahead.
I apologize, because I didn't see on the transfer request, it says to cover cost of vehicle parts to the end of the year on the transfer request, so it was a copy and paste, I'm sure. My apologies. I should be more attentive to details. My apologies.
It's okay.
No, there's
Any questions? Not, all those in favor? Opposed, unanimous, all present.
Thank you,
Item
everybody.
number- You're welcome. Thank you. Item number 17. Review and discuss a police department transfer request of $27,500 from account number 001-210-511-000 salary to account number 001-210-511-700 part-time salary. Entertain a motion to recommend approval of town council.
So moved.
Second.
Chief?
And then if I could, all these transfers are coming out of salary. We're 2 officers short right now, like I mentioned earlier, so the salary account should be fine until June 30th. But because we're too short, I can move money into these accounts. The reason why there's such a substantial transfer request here, this is all per diem dispatches. We cannot keep them. We cannot keep full-time dispatches, so we have per diems covering shifts. This is all out of part-time salary. Our full-time people continually, they get trained and they leave to other communities, make a lot more money, and some of it's substantial money, and they just keep leaving. We have to correct that at some point, and hopefully in the future, if we ever get to a regional comm center, that will correct a lot of those issues. But that's a work in progress. So that's why there's such a substantial amount of money here.
Dave?
Real quick, the chief of the town manager, what's the pay difference, to say from town over?
$5 an hour. Starting. Our max, since you asked, through you, Mr. Chair, our max dispatcher takes 5 years to get to the max. You go one town over, they get about 500 calls a year. They start at $5 an hour more. That's not even their max. Their starting step 1 is higher than our step 5.
And
They
health,
literally do not
health
answer
is
the phone
70,
for 8 hours.
health is still 70-30 here.
It's 80-20.
80-20.
Yeah, another community.
But in Charlton or
Yeah.
something like that, it's 80-20.
Yeah. So couple the health insurance with the $5 an hour wage, comes out to about $15,000 a year more, and it's a lot less work. And not being disrespectful to any community, but Southbridge is a unique animal. And when you can work somewhere else and do a lot less, it is what it is with the money. I can't keep them here.
Any other questions?
I just,
Go ahead.
to Mr. Adams' point, we are doing collective bargaining, so I'm sure that's gonna be part of collective bargaining. To the chief's point, yes, we are aware of our salary, but it's not just Southbridge that struggles with dispatches, I wanna make that clear.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
left
there
that
are
out.
other
Sure.
towns that, they go from Southbridge to Charlton, to Spencer, back to Charlton. It's, the days of people staying in one place are long gone. That is why we are really working collaboratively. I know some people don't like the regional word. However, it's something that we have to explore because of the complexities of the job and the advantages of possible regionalization for that position. And that's all. Thank you.
Councilor Lazo?
Point of order.
As I will always say, you gotta know the history. Nobody ran the dispatch better than the Southbridge Fire Department.
Thank you.
It should have never came out of there, and there was a big pipe dream of this, we're gonna do this new thing. Now it's not working, so now we gotta go regional. I'm telling you right now,
I would-
we really messed up on that.
I've offered the fire department to take it back 10 times, ask them, and they don't want it.
1,000 times.
Well, if it was there and we never moved it, it'd still be there.
Correct.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. Any other
History bites
questions?
us in the tail again.
But then again, we'd be the only community in the state that has a fire department dispatch, so I just wanted to say that. 351 towns.
Any other
We'd be the only
questions?
one.
It had to do with numbers, know the
That's
history.
true. That's true.
Anyway,
You know what's coming.
All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, all present. Item 18, review and discuss a police department transfer request of $11,250 from account number 001-210-511-000 salary to account number 001-210-518-100 witness. Entertain a motion to recommend approval of town council.
So moved.
Second.
Chief?
Through you, Mr. Chair, this is a unique one. This is our court, overtime to pay officers to go to court. What happened is over the years, we had a line item, it was $57,000, $57,200, and we reduced it during the last fiscal year because we didn't use all the money. in that account, so we reduced it to 45,000. Now here I am looking for a transfer because we wanted to cut costs 1 year, and now this year I have to do a transfer to cover court costs because we've had a lot more arrests. Officers are at court a lot more often in Worcester Superior, Dudley, East Brookfield. So year over year, it's very difficult to budget for court time. I mean, I can kind of narrow it down within a certain amount of money, but it's impossible to get to an exact number. So going forward, we'll be going with the same amount in our budget for FY '26, but maybe next year it'll work out. I don't know.
Nobody knows.
Because we weren't using it all, so we decided to reduce it, and now here we are.
I just want a point of clarification. That was in agreement with the police chief. when we
Yes,
reduced it.
yes.
It wasn't something that we said, hey.
Who was the
we're really doing.
PPP chair last year?
No, that's
However, but I think to that point too, we were coming out of COVID a number of
Yeah.
years, so a lot of it was Zoom and not a lot of court appearances. Now we're going back to more of a in-person appearance, so we have to change with that time as well.
Any questions? Not, all those in favor?
Wish Mark Kenny was here so
Opposed?
he could get all this
Unanimous, all present. Item 19, review and discuss a police department transfer request of $30,000 from account number 001-210-511-000 salary to account number 001-210-515-000 holiday. Entertain a motion to recommend approval to town council.
So moved.
Second.
Through you, Mr. Chair, every single budget cycle, I ask for more money in this account. Every single year, it doesn't happen. Every single year, I have to do a transfer. So here I am again. This past budget that we're doing now, or the one that's going to council next week, there's an increase, but I requested more because I know that I'm going to need more money. But I'm trying to work. I understand the financial situation, and I will deal with it, but just when I come for a transfer, that's why I'm doing it. Because I know what the number is, I know where we need to be, but it's a substantial amount of money, so every year around this time I do a transfer. And for the last 10 years, I've done transfers into the holiday account to cover costs.
Any questions?
Just saying again, we had extensive conversations last year about addressing this, and the chief said that he'd be willing to keep it level funded
Yeah.
and see how the year goes, because we have to balance needs. So it's not something that we don't want to address, and we're trying to keep level staffing. Could certainly eliminate a police officer and then have increase overtime and then have a circular argument, but it's something that we continue to try to struggle with and increase.
Any questions? Not, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, all present. Item number 20, review and discuss a police department transfer request of $1,000 from account number 001-210-511-000 salary to account number 001-210-524400 copier leases and contracts. Entertain a motion to recommend approval of town council.
So moved.
Second.
Chief?
This is a new one to me. We recently transitioned to a new program. Where we got rid of a lot of copies and a lot of printers at the police department, and we kind of centralized everything to one overall copy for the whole building. Now they charge us though per copy. So I don't know, and in the long run, trust me, you're looking at it's gonna work out because we were spending thousands of dollars a year on ink. This is now all-inclusive, so I anticipate going forward, we'll be fine under this program. But it's just kind of getting a ballpark figure on what we're printing for court, for accreditation, what our detectives need for color copies, because those are more money. But it's not, this is just kind of an offset year. I spoke with the manager about it. It was a good idea to go into the program because I no longer need ink. We no longer need to repair printers. We had small little desk jets that were $700 or $800 a piece. They didn't last very long. Now we have central printers that they come in, we lease them. They do everything. We're responsible for nothing. They just charge us per copy. If this is an anomaly, it's just I have to figure out what we're using on a year-over-year basis to budget accordingly.
Dave?
So most towns do this. They've been
Yes.
doing this for years.
Yeah.
I don't see why we're not doing this throughout, if we aren't already, because I know the fire department needs it, community center needs that stuff, VSO needs that stuff. It just makes sense. In the long run, you don't have to, every time ours breaks down in Oxford, you just call somebody, they come down, fix it, they deliver ink to us all the time, and it's a very simple process. Thank you.
I'll just, if I may.
Go ahead.
This has been a conversation that we've had about RICO, and because we use RICO. So about those other buildings, Dean has been very strong about that we shouldn't have individual departments with copiers, that we should be doing a RICO, so we're looking to bring that in and to have that into a centralized account within the town hall.
I agree, Mr. Town Manager, I agree with that part, but if there's individual departments that have HIPAA information, then let's just say you have to go across the hallway to go pick it up.
Well, no, I'm
it's a
talking
mess.
about what copiers, if they've got leasing, because there's several departments that lease their own copiers. So rather
Yeah, it
than
should
have
be
their own
everybody.
copiers, it would be the RICO with the ink and all
Right.
that, so that's what I'm talking about.
Fire department did that 2 years ago, I don't know what you actually.
Any other questions?
Yes.
Jesus.
You can't even back vehicles out of your garage, you gotta talk to me about it.
If not, all those in favor?
Yeah.
Opposed? Unanimous, all
This
present.
is like a coming out moment, huh?
Point of order.
Item number
Mr.
21.
Chairman, if I may, I just
Yeah, go
want
ahead.
to return to the holiday pay. We did address it in this year's budget to increase it incrementally. Chief had requested 188,000, but to go to 188, which is approximately 23,000, we cut that in half to make sure the balance budget.
No, the manager and Mr. Akabuchi are very supportive to the police department. I'm certainly not, I don't want to offend anybody, but I just can't.
I'm taking it personally, Chief.
No, you shouldn't, really. No, you guys have been very good to us. We're not fighting, we don't complain about everything, we're good.
Item number 21.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair. Go
My
ahead, go ahead.
Item number 21, review and discuss a police department transfer request of $3,000 from account number 001-210-511-000, salary to account number 001-210-53-0000, specialized services. Entertain a motion to recommend approval of town council.
So moved.
Second.
This is an ongoing cost. I certainly will not sit here and say that I told you this was gonna happen, but I knew it would happen. Oxford charges us an extraordinary amount of money every month for the use of their kennel. We also get charged per day for every dog that we have at their kennel. I don't know how many dogs we're gonna have there on a daily basis. Some weeks we have 3 or 4, some weeks we have 0. So we have the monthly rent that we have to pay, which I can obviously budget for. But the actual count on the dogs, I cannot. So this would hopefully get us through the fiscal year to June 30th. But again, we have a very active community, a very active animal control officer, so I can't predict how many animals are gonna be housed in Oxford and how many days they're gonna be there.
Don't worry, the kennel's coming.
I hope so.
I cannot wait to see that bill. Go ahead.
Any questions? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, all present. Item 22, review and discuss the police department transfer request of $5,000 from account number 001-210-511-000, salary to account number 001-210-550000, drugs, medicine, health. Entertain a motion to recommend approval of town council.
So moved.
Second.
Chief?
Through you, Mr. Chair, this transfer, on a serious note, our comfort dog was hospitalized at Tufts for several days. It had some type of like a cyst or something in its neck. We didn't think that the animal was gonna make it. So it was housed, it had emergency surgery, and this is to cover the cost of that bill. We certainly couldn't let the animal, pass away. It's 18 months old, it's new to the community, it's at our schools every day. So we had to get the work done on the animal to make sure that he's okay, he's fine now. But it was a weaker hit of this.
Any questions?
We tried, saying it was a town dog,
No.
please, they said no.
If not, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, for all present. Item 23, review and discuss a police department transfer request of $750 from account number 001-210-511-000, salary to account number 001-210-546-000, building and grounds. Entertain a motion to recommend approval of town council.
So moved.
Second.
Chief?
As the manager alluded to earlier, we are trying to get everything done early this year, wrap up the fiscal year. We have to have everything in by mid-May. So this is just simply here, we have $256.49 remaining. This is to cover us through June 30th. I believe the $750 transfer will get us there for any unexpected expenses. And if not, we'll go back to the general fund at the end of the year.
Any questions? If not, all in favor? Opposed?
Mr.
Unanimous,
Chairman.
all present.
Motion
Mr.
adjourned.
Chairman, I'd like to just say to everybody in the room,